Okay, guys. Well, 101. This is going to be our last sort of series of videos before spring break. I know spring break is confusing because what does it mean if it's videos? Um, how do we think about that? It's so crazy. So what I'm going to be doing here is I'm gonna make some more videos today, and basically I'm not going to make any more videos during spring break. I'm going to take a week off of making videos. I'm still available. You need to email me something? Email me. You got a question? Email me. I may even I'm going to post some stuff up. I think on the blog, particularly like kind of ask me anything, see if what people are concerned about. And I'm going to give students this week to kind of it'll give them a chance to catch up, right? I mean, I've been making these blogs. A lot of them are the videos have been coming out a lot, and I've been making a lot of these blogs um, in a. I'm sorry, I'm changing my situation here. Um, I've been making a lot of these blogs, um, and I realize you may not have had a chance to really have seen them all. And uh, so I'm gonna. This is a chance to catch up. Spring break will give you a chance to catch up on some things. Um, okay, a couple of things before we start. Um, and then I'll keep making videos on the other side of spring break. But if you email me, you want to email me anything, you email it to me. If you need to have some kind of office hours, I can do a kind of Skypey office hours if you would like to see me face to face and some kind of electronic face to face. We could do Skype office hours or whatever and talk about whatever you're concerned about with class. Um, but the main issue is it's this is a all right. So there's that. The other thing, a couple of just checklisty things to keep in mind. You guys know in order to pass the class, you're going to need to turn in 4 assignments. You've already turned in one. Um, Assignments number 2 and 3 are available for you on the blog. I recently made this post called it's like a checklist of like how to pass this class now that it's online. And so basically, I just wanted to be clear that it's got all your assignments are listed. Um, and so in our case, there's one assignment you've already done a first draft of. Feel free to email me a second draft. And then there's 2 other papers, one of which is available on the blog now, and you can write an essay and send it to me. The other one I handed out before we went on break, so you can certainly take that piece of paper and use it to write up paper 3. Um, that's also probably going to be about Plato's Features. And then there's one final paper that you'll take on Blackboard on around like May 14th, and we'll talk more about that later. But that's on those 2 food essays, the David Foster Wallace and the Michael Pollan essay. Um, and that's it. And the other thing you have to do for class is you got to comment on the blog. So if you're seeing me doing this, please ask questions and say things in the comments to the blog. And also, I recommend you make your classes pass fail. Haven't quite figured out how that works yet, but when I find out how, keep an eye out for emails and how to do that, and there'll be some information coming about how to do that. And that's pretty much the class. So that's really it. And I'll be available for office hour kind of stuff and to answer questions and emails. And I may make some videos for fun. I don't know. There may just be some silly stuff on the blog this week since it's spring break. I may just put some. I'd like to have it ask me anything and then answer it with a video, which I feel like would be kind of entertaining, just to see where everybody's doing. And that's it for class. I hope you guys are doing okay out there. And the semester is going. I realize it's a little nuts, it's a little crazy, but it's a crazy situation, and we're stuck here, but we're doing okay. Okay, I think we're probably ready to jump back into Socrates. Now, I just want to say, I'm going to keep saying this. We're on page 22. There's only 24 pages in this thing, and that 24th page isn't even full of text. So we basically have the rest of page 22, all of page 23, and the top of page 24. And then we're done. We're done with Socrates as the Phaedrus, Socrates and Phaedrus, and written by Plato. So yeah, this is going pretty well. I can't believe we kind of got that this far. So anyway, that's it for sort of introductory stuff. Let's jump in and take a look at this. When we were last hanging out with Socrates and Phaedrus, they were having a conversation. Socrates told this whole story about the Egyptian god that invented writing, and what that means, and that the Egyptian gods said, "Hey, this is a great invention, writing. I invented writing in ancient Egypt. I'm an ancient Egyptian god, and I invented writing, and it's awesome because it's going to help you remember shit because you can write it down, and it's also going to help with intelligence because people are going to be able to learn shit from books." And the king says, "Ooh boy, I don't think you're right." He says, "First of all, I think it's going to make people forgetful because they're going to write things down instead of remembering." Number two, he says, I think it's going to make people stupid, actually, because the kind of, uh, when you read books, it gives you the appearance of wisdom, but not its reality. Socrates has some other bad things to say about writing. Socrates compares writing to, and I'm just summarizing from last time, which is why I'm not showing you the text. Socrates has some other issues he says that are wrong with writing. He says writing is like painting. If you ask a painting a question, the painting can't answer you. If you read a piece of writing and you're confused about it, the writing can't answer you. And so that's he thinks that's pretty bad. He also says, I'm sorry, I'm looking at, no, I'm looking off screen, but I'm trying to remember also what Socrates says. Socrates also says, the other problem with writing is that you write something down, could end up anywhere. You don't know where it's going to go. It could end up in the wrong hands, right? And then for a poem to end up in in someone else anywhere in the world is not so dangerous. But for instructions about how to make bombs or something, that could end up in the hands of a terrorist. So it's tricky. And actually, even poems, even if you write a love poem, but you're not ready to tell the person that you're in love with them, and the poem ends up in their hands, that actually could be pretty damaging if they see that you're writing poetry about them. Like if you go on a first date with somebody and then you write like 100-page worth of poems about them, you don't want that falling into their hands. And Socrates says when you write stuff down, you can't always control who reads it. Um, and the last thing Socrates says that makes writing like painting, that makes it bad, is that writing, like painting, is that if somebody attacks a piece of writing, it can't defend itself. So if you say this book is stupid, this book is worthless, this book is garbage, the book doesn't say anything. And so Socrates thinks it's pretty bad. And that's a summary of kind of what we went over last time. So today we're heading towards the final section of this thing. Oh boy, did my light go off? Is this bulb out of? Oh boy. Okay. Well, I'm having a little trouble with the lights. So Socrates says this is not good. So the question becomes, if Socrates, I think your main question, you probably have this question right now, if Socrates thinks writing is bad, what the hell does he think is good? Because this is also crazy. He's saying writing is bad. You know how I know that? I read it in a book by Plato about Socrates. This book. So like it's crazy because this is a book that says books are bad, which is nuts. By the way, I just love it because everybody assumes books are great, and I like going back to an earlier point in history when they. One of the funny things about the Phaedrus that really cracks me up, I feel like it's really funny, is that Socrates, he distrusts this new form of technology, writing. You don't think about writing as being a form of technology, but it is. Somebody invented it, and it's it's a technology. The ability to write your thoughts down on a piece of paper and then hand them to someone else so they can understand what's in your brain even 100 years later. That's a form of technology, and Socrates doesn't trust it. He says this is some new technology, and I think people love it, and I think it's fucking trouble. Please notice that this is the same conversation that old people have been having with young people since the beginning of goddamn time, which is that it's the same thing. People say, oh, the internet is this newfangled stuff. I think it's terrible. Actually, I feel that way. Here's a really easy one. Most of the people that I work with think online classes are a great idea. And even though they don't want to necessarily do it because of this COVID thing and we're all teaching from home and stuff, but like they like online teaching. They think it's a good technology. I think online teaching is a kind of bad technology. I don't really like it. I think it's better to be in a classroom talking to people. Because I'm not sure this technology is the best. The teaching online, I think, is not as good as teaching in person. And Socrates thinks the same thing about writing. It's just funny that my worries about video technology are very similar to Socrates' worries about writing technology. And by the way, my worries and Socrates' worries are the same. We're both concerned that it gives the appearance of wisdom, but not the reality. That it's sort of like learning, but it's not the same thing. You really need to be there in person. Um, so, so he, we're both worried about this stuff. Anyway, that's the end of that video, and I'll pick it up in the next video. I just think it's interesting that my worries about this phone, which I'm telling you, by the way, on an online class, are the same as Socrates' worries about writing. And how do we know that? Because we read it in a book. So it's the same issue. It's people have been worried about newfangled technology forever. It's just the newfangled technology in Socrates' day was writing. And he thinks it's trouble.